Welcome to the Sarahnormal activity. Hi, guys. I'm Sarah.
I'm Nick.
Did you see Nosferatu?
Oh yeah, I saw it the day after Christmas with my family. I loved it. I'm a little bit obsessed. I've been looking at all the memes and all the videos. I tried to go see it again. In fact, because we went to go see it at Alamo, and I wanted to go see it like an IMAX, but I haven't been able to. And it might be out of those theaters. So, but I still want to go see it again. But I really loved it. My family not so much, but I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was really beautiful. There were really good, I think, parts to
Hmm.
it. But like the whole thing, I just didn't feel like drawn into the whole thing, which is, I think, a lot to ask for a
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like there were certain segments that I was just like, that is so cool and like that's so exciting. But to me, it felt like a couple different movies kind of smushed together for me.
Okay.
And it didn't really like I wasn't really like scared, but I thought it was beautiful and yeah, I thought it was beautiful. It was well done. The performances were amazing. I really
Hmm.
loved how so much of the like possession and stuff was done just by the performance.
Physicality and
Like they
everything.
didn't get
Yeah.
into CGI with that stuff, which I really
Yeah.
appreciated.
Lily Rose Depp did really good. I had seen her in some stuff and she's always been good, not like bad or anything, but I was not expecting that and it was really good. It was incredible. Her, Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe, of course, and
Amazing.
Bill Skarsgård really transformed himself. That was everything he did with his voice.
I would not have known who that was. I would
Hmm.
never in a million years have known. And that's the thing. And I forgot also that it was
Yeah.
him. You know what I
Did you hear
mean?
about all the stuff that he did?
No.
He worked with an opera singer. So, because he was like, I don't want to sound like I'm putting on a voice. I wanted to sound like my voice. So he worked with this opera singer, and he talked about how he was like, I probably looked weird because every time right before we'd shoot, he would do all these like breath and vocal exercises, and he would sing like Romanian songs so that he could, get himself into that like chain, what do you call it? When you're a
Register?
soprano register, thank you. That register of so that it sounded more natural and just have that like, because he also was like, I want to make this sound like he's dying because he is. He's just a decaying body. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was incredible.
He was incredible. And the way he spoke was so creepy. I'm gonna look it
Mm,
up, but I want to make sure I'm talking about the right person.
uh,
Sometimes because there's so many Skarsgårds that I want to
yeah,
be.
it's Bill Skarsgård. He's the guy who he also played Pennywise. He's
Yeah.
the
So
brother who played Pennywise. Yeah.
yeah, we just watched him in, I feel like I brought this up before, but he was in Boy Kills World.
Yeah. How was that one? I haven't seen it. I didn't hear great
I
things about it.
loved it.
It's good. Okay.
I'm not saying it's good.
Yeah,
I'm
but you
saying I
love.
loved it.
It's fun. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
because it came out and I wanted to see it in theaters because I was like, sounds fun. I like him.
Yeah.
The other side characters, I was like, and John H. Benjamin is playing the voice in his head. I was like, sure. And I never got to, and it kind of was like shitted on, but I was like, I still have been curious because I was like, I could see how it's not going to be a good movie, but I could still possibly have a good time watching it. And
Yeah.
that's good to know. That's good to know that it's one of those. Okay.
Oh yeah. I didn't know what to expect. It was just we just put it on like we had been watching we like watched another movie and it was like late at night, like
Yeah. Because it's
just
on
didn't want to go to
Hulu, I
bed
think.
yet.
Yeah.
And it was like I had never even heard of it. And it was like, I mean, it's like watching a like a video game, what a video game
Hmm.
like in a weird, but like the good, like it's like all cutscenes. It's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
explain why that's good, but it's because it's the action is incredible and the story is very interesting and it just moves like this. So obviously I'm not saying like it's better than Nosferatu, like, but
Yeah, you're saying on the record that you think it's a better film and better shot and better acted than Nosferatu. Yeah,
I will say I kind of like was surprised and had a better time.
yeah,
No, I would recommend giving that a look. I appreciate if people didn't like it, but I just thought it was really it's fun and like dark and like
yeah,
I don't know, it's cartoonish in a good way. I think I don't know, but I thought it was really well made, and I'm sad that people shit on it because I think it should have get a chance.
yeah. I think it was just a different weird film, and people were like, I need to see it," but I kind of was like, I can see how people aren't going to enjoy this film, but I've been curious because it's on Hulu too. But
Yeah.
and I want to say because I want to circle back to Nosferatu, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
speaking of Bill Skarsgård, he's got such an interesting career, because he's like the younger brother of Alexander Skarsgård. He's like somewhere in the middle, and there's like another older one, and then there's an even younger one, or I don't know.
He's a dad who's
And his dad is Stellan Skarsgård,
yeah,
but he bounced around. He was on that Netflix gothic show, horror show. I forgot what it was called.
right.
I didn't watch it, but it was like that was one of his early things, and then he's bounced around here and there, and then he really got a lot of claim because he played Pennywise in It, and he did such a great job. And he's also done, he was in the last John Wick as the villain, and he's really good at kind of morphing himself. And then, but he did like this last year, he did that movie which didn't do super well. And then he did The Crow, the remake of The Crow, which
Right.
I watched on the plane over the holidays, and it's not great. It's just kind of like it's trying to be too cool and edgy, and it's too long, and it's just trails on, and there's all this other elements to the villain that they don't really go into, and you're just kind of like, what's happening? And it's funny because like if you see the original Crow, it's kind of a goofy movie, but it's like it's fun, and it's like it came out at the right time. It's such a 90s film that everybody was like, The Crow, I want to be like that, and then all the lore, and then the tragedy that befell Brandon
Right.
Lee and everything. And I think it's like they're trying to like emulate that again, and it's just like it doesn't. But they try to modernize it, so it just doesn't work. But people were saying how it's interesting because his career, because he's still got a lot of claim, and he did these two movies that weren't that great, but then he does like Nosferatu, and everybody's like, "Ooh, this guy's great," and it's cool because he's doing this thing where I hope he starts to really like figure out his like and he's going to be a Pennywise in the TV show, the Dairy whatever.
Right.
But he's poised to become like the next like Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney in a way.
Yeah.
In like this way where because horror movies are being taken seriously again in a way, and especially stuff like with what Robert Eggers is doing,
Yeah.
like he could be like this really sought after, like really cool, like this guy transforms himself, and I don't think we've had anybody like that in a long time.
I would just say like Doug Jones.
Doug Jones, yeah.
Not that
Doug Jones is very much a like because he fits because like his physicality and his body but he's also a great actor.
Yeah.
Like watching him on you because you said you started watching What We Do in the Shadows because he's
Yeah.
really great in that. Yeah, he's probably the closest thing, and that's why I think it's interesting to have somebody like Bill Skarsgård who's like really embodying these characters and doing all this work to get into them. It's super cool. I just think that's such a cool career, and
Yeah.
it's neat. I'm glad he's like really killing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's like he's not a bad looking guy. He could easily go down the route of like,
Yeah,
heartthrob and then age gracefully into some sort of spy shit. But he's
yeah,
like picking specifically interesting stuff, which I love. I
yeah,
think that has great value. Um,
big time. And I was gonna say for Nosferatu, it's funny because you were saying about how you kind of didn't feel because I went to go see it with my dad and my brother and my sister-in-law and my two cousins, and me and my dad really liked it, and everybody else was like, oh, it's okay. And my brother, we were talking about it, and he likes Robert Eggers, and he's like, I love the worlds that he creates, and he's like, I could just walk into it and just walk around, like when the carriage comes up and the way everything looks, they're like, this is
yeah.
beautiful. And he said how he's like, he didn't feel the way he did like after he saw The Witch.
Mhm.
So he was like, it's not anything about like how it was or long or boring. He was like, I just didn't feel, and I was like, I get that. For me, I love the acting. I loved how much dread because it wasn't a scary film. I mean, some people might find it scary. I agree, it's not scary, but for me, it's more like of the dread and the fear and the thrill and the suspense of everything.
Mhm.
Because Orlok isn't like, I don't know if you know the lore of him, but he's not a traditional vampire. Like he wasn't bit. He was a count who was dabbling with black magic and like accidentally summoned a demon, or a demon appeared and like he couldn't control him, and so he cursed him and he
Mhm.
turned him into this thing, and that's how he's become this like plague bearer and death.
Right.
And I just like I thought it was really interesting how they did everything and how they encapsulated him and his relationship with Helen, Lily Rose Depp, and 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 because Nosferatu is kind of a ripoff of Dracula and da da da. But one thing that I read about that was really cool is the scene where you see his hand, the shadow of his hand going over the city.
I love that.
Everybody thought it was a miniature, and Robert Eggers was talking about how Edgar Wright saw it, and he was like, "I love that miniature," and he was like, "That was not a miniature. We shot that real overhead, and they just did like effects and stuff, but they like." He explains it better. Like I think they did a shadow of a hand, and then they put it over it, and they did all this stuff, but they shot an actual city with like that. Like they did really cool effects to keep it more real. And they used a lot of practical effects, which was really neat. And they gifted Nicholas Holtz the Nosferatu prosthetic penis.
Yes.
I don't know if you know about that. Yeah.
No, I have another friend who worked on that my Mindhunter. He played one of the murders in Mindhunter.
Oh yeah.
He got to have like a long conversation and pick out his own penis.
Oh, nice.
He had to like whack. Somebody gave him shoes, and he had to like take the shoes and whack off, and then have the conversation. Yeah. Prosthetic penis. This brings up two things. So there were the whole thing with the I mean there are no spoilers. This is like an ancient story, so it's like
yeah.
The part with like the the rats, that was like so much. I don't know. I should have rewatched. I should have watched I have never seen like the 1922 version. But my brother and I were talking about it, and I think it's like I should have watched that before I saw it, and just didn't get time. But yeah, the rats part thing of it, just like that just hit me just as like oh yeah, that happened. Like that's plague. And then like it hit me in my plague trauma.
Yeah, your plague trauma.
So
yeah.
It got me. Yeah, and it was very beautiful. But there are two tangents. I don't want, we can step back to Nosferatu if you want, but there are two tangents that that you got me thinking about, which is like the concept of like remakes with like The Crow. And last night we watched we just put on the new Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, Beetlejuice, yeah.
Which was like, it was fun. Obviously, it was like, it's fun, it's a good time, it's Tim Burton. But again, it was like really the first 45 minutes are just like, hey, remember this part? Remember when we said that? Remember that thing? Remember this song? And it's like, yeah, it was really fun, and it was such the first one was so fun and quirky, and then just like that saying that, remember that joke I said, is like something about that's like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
But I get it, and you have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I saw it in theaters, and I agree. Like, I was like, I enjoyed it. I had fun. It took me back. It's the first one's one of my favorite movies. And I was like, I got some notes. Like, there's a couple things. I think there was too many storylines that they were going. But in the end, I was like, had a good time, was entertained.
Yeah, Catherine Hare is amazing in everything.
And they really let her. They realized, they were like, we really got to let her fly in this one. We really got to let her shine. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just like beautiful and hilarious, and
she's incredible.
Amazing. And I just love the little 90s storyline, because I was like, my music.
Yeah, right.
But it did make me, and I was thinking about with it as well, because I have a lot of feelings about it. I don't know about other people, but just like I don't. This might be controversial, but I don't like it. Like I don't like it. I don't like the book. I read it when I was like when I was like a kid, like in middle school or something, and I remember the room a couple times because I was like, this is so stupid. There are so many like stupid parts that were just like, okay.
It goes off, doesn't it? It just kind of, because I've never read it, but I know it's really long, and then there's a bunch of there's that weird sex scene with all of them that everybody's like, what's happening? Don't do this. Yeah.
I know, it's like, don't, and it's like that made it all the way to print many times. Like, don't act like that was just a oops. Like we thought about it, and a lot of people read it,
and a lot of people said, check it off, let's go. Yeah.
It was that still to this day bothers me. And it like the book ends with like a turtle and shit, like it goes to a different place. And I appreciate it for that, but I just don't understand why we have to keep remaking it. The movies I thought were actively bad. I was not scared by them.
The new ones?
Yeah.
Oh, really? You didn't like the? I thought
the actors. I love the performer. Yeah. I love them. But I
thought the first one was really good, and the second one was okay. I think the second one kind of like I think there was good things about it, and it was interesting, and I love the cast. I mean, the cast is what really helped it. Yeah. I kind of started losing a bit of the steam for me, but the first one I really liked, and I love. and I think it's a bit of nostalgia. The original Tim Curry one,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I remember because I used to love when they would do those made for TV, and a lot of them were Stephen King, like It and Langoliers and Rose Red and all those. I just used to love watching those with my family, and so there's like a bit of like nostalgia for that. But I can see how like yeah, it's not your thing.
The Tim Curry one, I gets a pass because it's
It
got
gets
John.
a pass, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, John Ritter's like the love of my life. Like, so the Tim Curry one I'm okay with, but I don't like. It's like I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I understand why they make it. It's made a shit ton of money for a lot
Yeah.
of people. So like, good for you, get that bag. But like, I don't. It just felt that the plot was so simple and repetitive and boring. Where it was like this person goes into this room and it has a nostalgic moment, and then they get killed, and then this person goes into another room, and it was just like the pattern was so clear and
Hmm.
evident, and it didn't like there were no surprises. I don't know, and it just bothers me, and I feel like that just people like that book because it's long.
Yeah, it's very
No
long, right?
other
Yeah,
reason. The story is, I mean, all right. So that's my rant about it, and
yeah,
that they
yeah,
don't need to keep making it. I like the concept of if they're going to go back to Derry and talk about like
yeah.
because like about that world because that's the thing that somebody brought up. Drew Gooden was talking about this, and it's made a really good point. He's a YouTube creator. He talked about like Star Wars and what the like offshoot television shows that did well, and it's like the
Hmm.
ones that that brought back like actual care that followed characters didn't do well, and the shows that created new characters and new storylines and new life within that world did great.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how I feel a little bit with you know remakes and going back to old IP is like just remaking the same story over and over again, not super interesting to me. Going back to that world where Ghost House lives and like seeing what other murder houses there are, what other
Yeah.
houses there are, what that world is, that little town is like. That's interesting to me. Like going to Derry, Maine and seeing what other like
Hmm.
how else it's haunted or what, that to me is very interesting. But just like the same people over and over again, I'm like, all right, I get the story. I've seen the story so many times. Well, like, what do you? I just can't get excited again. So
Yeah,
that,
no, I know that's a great point of like when you rehash just like, hey, you know this character you love, we're just gonna see more of it. But um and that's a good example of like Star Wars. I mean, even though they've canceled some good ones that were new, but
yeah,
they've kept like Skeleton Crew, which I just finished because it just ended like last week, was really good.
I love it.
All original characters, and it's
Yeah,
just kids on bikes and Treasure Island with Star Wars, and
I
it's great.
love it. I love
It's
it.
wonderful,
Yeah,
and that's a true thing. And I agree. Like, I love the idea of like getting an IP, especially like horror, and go like, hey, remember all this, but we're gonna explore this other aspect of it and get in deeper. I think that's yeah. I know Pennywise is in it because Bill Skarsgård's talked about how he's filming it. I don't know how what I know they're gonna go more into Derry and like I guess what he's done. So I don't know. It'll
yeah.
we'll see. Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested to just hear other stories. I just can't hear that. The I mean, I read the book and it's enough. Like, I get it. But I think and it goes back to Nosferatu with like I like my company just produced. We're right now producing like a Dracula play. It's like a comedy version of Dracula. That's great and really funny. But I've seen it and I've watched it and it's like I'm so the story is like so in my that I'm just
Hmm.
like I know how this goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And Nosferatu is a straight rip off of Dracula. Yeah.
did you watch the Demeter? I can't remember what it's called. The
Oh, the last voyage of the Demeter. Yeah.
Yeah, is that? I mean, because I feel like that's a little bit what we're talking about, where it's like something that is in that world that is
It
not.
could have been so interesting, and I couldn't. It was so boring and so just like because it was like it's such a great idea, because it's that thing in the book of like you don't hear you just they set off, they come back, everybody's dead. There's this box that they take off, so it's like what happened,
Yeah,
and I wish they would have like not tried to be so much like we're gonna get this story and like let's just tell it how it is. We don't care what happens to who, like da da da. And they tried to be like, and here's this hero, and here's this thing, and there's this monster, and he's coming every night, and you're not really gonna see the monster, but kind of, and it's all CGI'd, and it's just like, yep, and then he's gonna kill that person, and then he's gonna kill that person, and da 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 da. And but how are they gonna survive? Because nobody survives. But of course, they find a way around it, the way you're gonna predict. And it was just so like. But then, of course, if anybody survive, like the rest of the story, he goes, he does his thing. So I wish they would have focused. Like it could have been more interesting if they focused a little bit more on the people and like what's going on and make it like this kind of like it's like they wanted to make it like this unseen thing, but they were like, no, we need to show it and look and it's CGI this monster. But I was like, make it more of this like kind of like they're like losing like the thing almost like make it like a thing like the thing on a boat and it's like everybody's like what's going on and then deal with the psychological thing of the terror of and you're stuck on a boat, you can't go anywhere instead of just this creature feature because it's like, yeah, we've seen this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could have made it better. It was very disappointing.
Oh, that's too bad. I have that
Yeah,
on.
but I mean, check it out for yourself
Yeah.
because I mean that was my take. Who knows? But that's how I felt about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I might still watch. We have it. It's on the list, so I might still
Yeah.
just.
It's not long. I remember it's quick.
Okay.
So it's an easy watch. Did you ever see Shadow of the Vampire?
No, I don't think I have.
So that one's incredible. I recommend that highly. It's about them making the is it the original or the Max Shrek one? They're making a Nosferatu. It's one of the makings of it, and it's John Malkovich plays the director, and Willem Dafoe plays Nosferatu. But what the story is that what nobody knows except for the director is that Nosferatu is an actual vampire. He found an actual vampire, and he's like, I'm gonna film you. I'm gonna make a movie about you as a vampire. And it's like this fake story of like, what if this happened? Like, because I think it's based on Max Shrek, because Max Shrek took it so seriously, but I think it's also them making the original, but the idea of I can't remember. But, and it's just how Willem Dafoe's this actual vampire, and he just keeps eating people, and like, and John Malkovich is like, stop, like, I need to make this film, and he'll do anything to make it. And it's so like, it's such a great horror comedy. It's a very dark horror comedy, but it's so incredible, and the two of them together are amazing, and I highly recommend it. It's so good, so good.
Yeah, it looks good. I actually have never heard of that. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Um,
And it's funny because Willem Dafoe was in Nosferatu as well, so everybody was like, "Oh, he's back!" Yeah.
love that. I did watch Abigail.
Oh, what'd you think?
It was kind of fun. It
It's
was
fun.
kind of fun. Yeah, it was. It was interesting. I liked all those people, and it was messy, and there were some actually pretty good scares. Some pretty
Hmm.
good, like, who knows what's going to happen scares.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about it.
yeah,
It was a good horror movie. It was a little bit like Smile for me, where it like you can kind of get up and take care of the dishes
hmm
and come back but very lots of blood. I'm
yeah.
really
It's very.
not like a vampire person. Like I'm not.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I think I don't know exactly. I don't hate obviously, it's just like the thing about like eating is gross, but the like the possession aspect of it, how strong the little kid was,
Yeah.
and like her abilities and stuff were very interesting. I thought that they went into that in a very interesting way.
Hmm.
Um, and her just being this predator was very interesting to me. Yeah, it was fun.
But being a little girl, yeah, it was. Yeah, I really like those guys. Radio Silence. They did the last Scream, and they did Ready or Not. Um,
I love
they
it.
Yeah, right. It's great. They're doing a sequel, which is crazy. Yeah, Abigail, I thought was a lot of fun. I think I went to go see it twice in theaters. Just 'cause it was just to me it was so much fun. I love vampires too. I love vampires, and it was yeah, like I said, like you said, I love the cast. The cast is
Yeah.
incredible, and it was just such a fun, different concept. I think I may have said this in another episode we did, but I saw this TikTok creator, and he was so right. It was like because he was talking about how trailers show too much of films. And he was like, I know that the whole concept is Abigail and she's a vampire, but he's like, how cool would it have been if in the trailer they just show that they kidnapped this little girl and then something starts stalking them in this home, and then you went to go see the film and then you find out it's her and she's a vampire. And I was like, yeah, that would have been a really cool reveal. You're right. That would have been really neat.
I'm wondering what was behind them like revealing that, you know, like
It seems like movies are doing that a lot and people are getting kind of frustrated. That's why like now a lot of times they even say like I'll see like people recommending films be like don't look at anything, don't watch a trailer.
yeah.
Cuz like movies are like they make these trailers cuz it's never like the director or the editor the studios go, "Okay, make a trailer and then we're going to put it out there." And they think we need to spell everything out for everybody. It's like it's the reason why like when if you look at trailers for new musicals, they never show any of the music. They never show anybody singing
Mm.
because they don't think people want to go see musicals. So it was funny with the new Wonka movie because it's a musical, and a lot of people didn't know it was a musical, and they went to go see it and were like, "The fuck is happening?" And then Wicked is hilarious because everybody knows it's a musical. I mean, pretty much everybody does. I'm sure there's some people that were like, "What?" But it's, you know, most 90% of people know it's a musical. But if you watch the trailers, there's music, you hear songs in the background, but they don't really show them like doing full numbers like they used to in trailers because they don't. So it's the studios that are like and like there's that new movie that's coming out called Companion. Have you heard of it?
Mm. Yeah, is that
With
about like the robot?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
well, it's Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid and a bunch of the people.
yeah,
And the first trailers were so weird, and it was like, what is this about? And then I there was another teaser trailer that showed a little bit more, and then the new trailer came out, and I started watching it, and I turned it off midway because I was like, it's giving me too much, and I want to know as little, and I already knew some stuff, like he's the robot, and I was like, I want to, so that's why I was like, and I've learned with some stuff to not watch too much trailers of it because it's better to know because like they'll just be like, here's everything,
yeah,
here's the story,
yeah.
and
I
yeah,
used to look, yeah, I used to look things up. I remember like Hereditary. There's a couple more that just like I start watching a trailer and it's like 5 seconds in. I'm like, I know this is something like Hereditary and Parasite again. Like a lot of A24. I mean, A24 is also just very good at making trailers that make me want to
so
like,
good. They
you
just
know,
make good
I know it's
films.
like 10 seconds in. I'm like off, and I'm not going to watch anything else about it. I
Yeah,
got to go in here. Um, but yeah, I think I feel like they also just do like a lot of market research, and they get people who are just like, well, why didn't we just know or whatever? I don't
yeah.
know.
Tell us
That's
every.
not,
Yeah, it's in the middle of Montana. It's like I don't know what this is about. I was like, oh
yeah, they
shit.
watch the trailer and they're like, well, what is it?
Yeah,
And it's like, oh, it's about a girl. Yeah, I'll see that.
yeah,
So
yeah. Because I noticed that too with that new movie that's coming out, The Monkey. Have you seen the trailers to that one?
see, here's the thing about that is I haven't seen the trailer, but I've seen like a couple of just like promo
The
things that are
the
very
teasers.
cool.
Yeah,
They're very like just like still promos that are like very like 1970s magazine ads, which I thought was
hmm
pretty interesting and cool. But that I don't know what it's about at all.
yeah. Because it's based off a Stephen King short, and it's produced by James Wan, and it's written directed by Oz Perkins, who did Long Legs.
Right.
And it's the like you get the concept in the teasers, but it was enough to go, okay, cool. Um, but then the new trailer, and it is cool, and I watched the whole thing, but there was a little bit of like, I saw so many characters die, so I know that these characters are because it's a lot of gruesome deaths. That's what the movie is. It's about a lot of gruesome deaths.
Um,
But I was like, I really hope that they can just show all these because there's going to be a ton more. But I was like, I know a lot of these characters are going to die now. But I still can't wait to see it. It looks amazing. So.
wasn't that isn't that like the tagline is everyone dies or something like that?
Yeah, one of the yeah.
I
Well,
want to know that.
Tatiana Maslany is like she keeps saying that she has like a line in it too. She goes, "Everyone dies." I don't know if everyone dies in the film, but there's going to be a lot of death. It's a very much about it's about this thing
Everyone
that
does
kills
die
people. Oh yeah, everyone gonna die.
eventually.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
Yeah,
not everyone in this movie dies in this movie, but
in the movie, but eventually they'll die. Yeah, in real life. So
we also
yeah.
we were able to see Things Will Be Different, which we talked about before. It's
What's
the
that one again?
it's like a small independent movie from the guys who made The Endless and
Oh,
Spring and that those guys. It's not from them. They
they
produced it.
produced it, right? Yes, we did talk about it, and I wrote it down. And how did you see it?
It's on Apple.
It's on Apple.
Yeah, you can
Okay,
rent it on Apple.
you can rent it on
Um,
Apple. Yeah, yeah, because it's about brother and sister, right? And they do a
yeah.
heist, and then okay, how was it? Yeah,
So I really liked it. I think if people are looking for it, it's we don't have to talk too long about it, obviously, but it like I really enjoyed it. I thought it's like it's like a good, quiet, independent movie. It is they did a lot with a little. fewer than 10 people in the cast. It's really almost entirely one location. It's like a little bit of isolation horror, I would say,
Hmm. Hmm.
cosmic horror as well. Um,
I
and
love cosmic horror.
yeah, and it's really nice relationships, really strong character building, and it's a good. It's just the storytelling is great. I
Hmm.
really enjoyed it. Yeah, we I was very into it. Like I was very drawn into these people, into their story, and to like what was happening. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's cool, and there's cool devices, and yeah, the more I think about it, the more I like it. So I would definitely recommend if you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for like you know big kills, or if you're looking for like big monsters, it's not that's not what you're looking
Yeah.
for. This is storytelling, um, you know, dread and suspense,
Hmm.
but
Is
yeah,
it
I
kind of
thought
like
that was really
the?
cool.
Is it kind of like those guys' other films? Like I know they
Yeah.
didn't make it, but yeah, because yeah, so yeah. If you like their stuff, you'll probably like this. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also but it's similar to their stuff, but in on a much because like a lot of my issues with like something in the dirt and things like that that are they get very it gets very heady and very
Yeah.
concepty.
Hmm.
This is like the concept, but the concept is very digestible.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like yeah, so it's an element of that. So I but yeah, we had a great time. So,
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I want to check that one out. I remember we talked about it.
yeah, it's on Apple right now, and I think eventually it'll probably be on like Tubi and stuff like that. So
Yeah, streaming thing. Tubi, gotta love Tubi.
Tubi, Tubes.
All the good stuff. Um, what did I watch? Oh, I watched Bloody Axe Wound, which was one that I had heard about, and it came out. I think it had a real limited release because I was even going to try to go see it in the theaters, and I think it's real small. I think it was playing at very like
I never heard of it.
what? Yeah, it was like super indie, but I was like the concept sounded fun, and then I rented it on Amazon. And it's like it's I was disappointed. And just to give like an overview quickly, it's like this town where there's these slashers, but the slashers like they kill kids, like like you see in every film, like a Jason film or whatever,
Hmm.
where they kill the kids in town. But somehow these killings are recorded. Like they don't say how, they just get recorded and then turned into a film, and then you can watch these films like you would watch a horror film. And it's just a thing that happens in this town. They don't really explain what it is. It's just literally these people that are killers are crazy serial killers like Jason or Freddy or and not so much Freddy because it's more like in your dreams, but
Yeah.
the typical slasher. But somehow somebody records them and then puts them into film and then sells them at these videotape stores. And like one killer who is basically like a Jason-esque, he's older and he's got this daughter and he's on the verge of retiring, and they own this video store and they sell these horror movies, and she wants to like take up the mantle and he's a little reluctant, but then she starts to go to the high school to like ingrain herself to get used to it, but then she starts to get close to the people and she doesn't want to kill him. But it gets so convoluted and the editing is weird and the pace is weird
Hmm.
and the acting's okay. And again, I was just like, I don't, who's shooting these things? And it's like, there was times too where they were doing like, they were trying to set tension or something. And the way they would switch back and forth with characters, and the pacing was really off. I don't know. It was disappointing. If you see it, wait till it. Don't rent it. I rented it. I wasted money.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to see it, like wait till it. Like if it pops up on a free streaming thing, maybe check it out. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's an interesting concept. But yeah, I
it
hate when there's like that giant, there's just like a giant question.
yeah. And they were just kind of like, don't worry about it. They were like, we've got more things to focus on. I was like, I really would rather figure out about this. Like, what
That's
is this
yeah,
about? This is a
that's
really,
the
it's
vibe.
like
Like,
watching,
yeah.
not to bring it into it. And I'm really upset that I'm bringing this up because I know we both do improv, but it's like watching an improv set and somebody says something really interesting and you're like, oh, I want to watch, what's that? But
Yeah.
then they ignore it and then they start to invent new things and it's just crazy stuff. And you're like, okay, sure. But that one thing you said was really cool. And I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that. Yeah. Yeah. Creating a device and then not really telling you. I
Yeah.
mean, not that you have to know how everything works, but
Yeah.
but like, don't just ignore a device.
Yeah, I don't need you to, I know I'm easily like when I watch a film and maybe they don't completely, I'm like, that's fine. I can suspend disbelief. But there was just so much of like, wait, what? How does this work? Like, you can't give us anything, like a little quick
Yeah.
something about it. I don't know.
Yeah. Like the tape, like there's cameras that are haunted or I don't
Yeah,
know.
something. Or there's people, there's just crews that run around and do it and they're
Yeah.
just like part of their job or something. I don't know.
Right. Like
Which
what?
that would be a funny concept for a film. It's just like the crew that just goes around following these people. I mean, they've done versions of it, I know, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's one of my favorite episodes of Black Mirror is the White Bear one where people wake up and there's just a bunch of people filming them and not talking.
Yes, that's right. Yes, 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 yes.
It goes
Uh-huh.
to a weird place, but I love anything that starts with that massive like what is
Yeah.
happening, doesn't explain it, and then eventually explains it.
Explains what's happening.
Those are my favorite things. It's just like
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like we'll tell you the answers, but just wait for a while. It's gonna get
yeah.
weird, but then we'll give you the answers. Yeah, yeah. And then I'm gonna recommend this film. It's not a horror, but it's a thriller. And it's because I had heard about it. It's a French noir from 1958, so a little different from what we usually are. But it's called Elevator to the Gallows, and it's really
Ooh,
good. Yeah, it's on Max.
I'm
But
not.
it's a cool old oldie but goodie. I had heard about it. I've been wanting to see it. I checked it out. Oh, and the new Goosebumps show, the new series, the new season.
I'm like not a Goosebumps person, but you're a Goosebumps person.
Love Goosebumps. I'm all about Goosebumps. This season, I loved the first. It's an anthology series. This new one that they do on like Disney Plus and Hulu. The first one was a lot of fun. It was goofy, but I liked it. This new season, I've only seen the first two episodes, and it's been kind of like a slog. But I'm hoping it gets better. And David Schwimmer's like the main guy.
Hmm.
And it's very funny because his character is like a botanist who's really goofy, and he's got these two kids. He's got twins, a boy and a girl, and he's divorced, and they're in New York. So I was joking to my friend because she's a big Friends fan, and I was like, it's a little bit like, what if Ross, who has a boy and a girl, divorced Rachel, and instead of being a paleontologist was a botanist and got into these shenanigans because it's all take place in New York. So
And that's how I'm gonna watch it.
yeah, that's how you should watch it. Just Ross, what are you doing? Yeah.
All right, Rachel.
Yeah, he's kind of like that. He acts like that. So, yeah. But I'm gonna keep watching it because I love Goosebumps. I'm all
Yeah.
about Goosebumps. Yeah.
I was a little too old for Goosebumps.
Mhm.
Um, but
Have you read a lot of Stephen King?
yeah.
What do you think about Pet Cemetery?
Um. Oh, I like it. I love it. I read that when I was 8.
Oh wow,
That was like
wow.
that was the first. Pet Cemetery was the first I read of his when I was like,
Because I've never read Stephen King. I've seen like all of his films. And I always liked Pet Cemetery. And I don't know if I told you about when my mom and aunt took me when I was like 5 years old to the first one, and because they used to show me horror films, but I'd never seen a horror film on the big screen. And when Zelda came out, the sister, I freaked out. I was like, no. But I like that film, and I've always liked Pet Cemetery. And for some reason, it's been popping up a lot just in the world for me. And I was like, you know what? If I was to start with one, I'd start with that one, I think.
yeah,
So I think I got to finish all these other books that I'm reading, but I
right.
think I'm going to read that eventually. I want to start with that one. So
Yeah, I mean, Firestarter is also really good, and I think like his old stuff is great. And I would also recommend if you just want to read like Skeleton Crew is my favorite of his. It's just short stories. His
the
short
short
stories
story, yeah,
are my favorite.
yeah, yeah.
Skeleton Crew and Night Shift are like the two that I are like the old 80s like old school Stephen King that I love. And that Skeleton Crew has The Mist in it.
Oh, okay.
That's like
Oh, maybe I'll start with that then to do the short stories to like kind of okay, Skeleton Crew and Night Shift.
mhm.
Yeah, because I remember that movie they made with the giant bat is from one of those, the Graveyard Shift that
Yeah.
they made a long time ago. It's from that too. And I remember that movie was weird. I liked it though. Had Brad Dourif in it. I remember I was like, giant bat. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Or maybe it is called Graveyard Shift. And
It
I
might be Graveyard Shift because that's the name of the movie. I don't know if they changed the name for the movie, but I remember the movie's called Graveyard Shift. Yeah.
But Skeleton Crew is my favorite. That there's so many good, and that's the thing too, where it's like it's just like you get the concept, and it's just a little bit, and then you live in the world, and then it's it, and you don't have to like spend 1,000 pages talking
Yeah,
about
going on. Yeah,
nonsense.
about weird sex scenes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll start with Skeleton Crew. Okay, cool. Yeah.
it's my favorite.
Good to know.
Yeah, and then I'm just looking forward to. We were just talking about like trailers and the movie Presence. I've been seeing a lot about it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it's about, and I can't wait. to
Do
see it.
you want to know? It's a pretty simple concept.
Okay. What is
You,
it?
okay, it's a great idea. It's Steven Soderbergh. It's a haunted house story, but it's told from the POV of the ghost.
Oh, okay.
So and people are like the others. I was like, but no, there's no twist. It's just like you see the ghost, like the camera is the ghost, and the people are like, what was that? And it's just the ghost is watching the people, and they're just like, what's happening? And it's the people being affected by it, but the ghost is there. That's all I know. I don't know if it's a good ghost. I don't know if it's a bad ghost. I don't know if it's a doesn't give a shit ghost and is just living there. But that's the idea. That's the concept.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool concept, and some of the shots, the way it looks, is really cool. So I'm very, very interested to see that.
Yeah, that's what drew me in is just kind of the way that the way that the camera moves through because you don't really see anything or what's happening, but it's just the way that the camera's moving through the rooms and the way it
Hmm.
interacts with the people. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's interesting. What's happening there?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not sure exactly when that comes out. Oh, and Severance starts tonight. That's not horror, but
Yeah,
Severance,
Severance is it's
yeah.
today. Yeah. That's in a
Wait,
way it's horror,
yeah.
corporate horror. Yeah, and Presence I think is at the end of this month. I think it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, very very soon.
I'll put
There's a
the
lot of good horror coming out this like in this couple months because it's that one Presence and then Monkey is coming out very soon and Companions coming out. Companions coming out next week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Companions next week. Wolfman came out today.
Right.
And then so there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Have you noticed have people I've been hearing people say that like for some reason they're not like advertising Wolfman or something. I've been seeing like I mean I saw a trailer for it for Nosferatu, but I don't know. Someone's saying that like for some reason the studio's like hiding it.
I've seen trailers for it. I've seen the trailers for it pretty much before every movie I've gone to see in the theaters, and I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff on whenever they show like when I watch the streaming stuff. I've
Okay.
seen some stuff here and there.
I feel like
It's apparently the reviews are like okay because it's the same guy who did the recent Invisible Man with
Hmm?
Elizabeth
Oh,
Moss.
I love that.
It was great.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is he turned this concept on like let's watch it from the view of the victim,
Yeah.
from the POV of the victim. And so I guess they were like, what can you do with Wolfman? I might go see it tonight. I want to go see it. I'll probably go see it this weekend if not tonight. The reviews were a little tepid, but it was like not bad. It wasn't outright. One review, the main consensus on Rotten Tomatoes was like, it's fine. There's not like really spooky scary, but one thing that did get me was like, but fans of body horror will find stuff that they like, and I was like, oh well, I gotta go see it now. Yeah,
Really?
I got a lot of stuff that's coming up. We just talked about a lot of films that are coming out that we can talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited.
2025 like looking pretty good already. Right
No,
out of the
right?
gate.
Yeah, 2024 was a good year for horror, so I'm really excited for this year.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Amazing. All right. Well, that's it. That's it for us. Let's wrap it
That's
up.
it.
Thanks so much to everybody who's listening. Thank you to Nick. Thanks
Hmm.
to everyone who said hello. Feel free to give us a like and a subscribe. Give me 5 stars on the app. I think I only have one. I think I have like 3 reviews,
No,
and they're all just five
I thought
stars.
you were gonna say I only have 1 star, and I was like, oh no, who
No.
did that? Who did that to you? Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. That's all I got. Anything? You have anything else?
No, that's it. No, like I said, I'm excited to watch all these movies and then come back and talk about them.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. See you in the next one.
Bye.